Russia has steadily expanded restrictions on imports of Armenian goods in recent months, banning or limiting products ranging from flowers and fish to fruits, vegetables, and dairy. For Armenia's producers, the stakes are high. Russia, with a population of about 143 million, is by far Armenia's largest export market, dwarfing Armenia's domestic market of roughly 3 million people. Armenia's central bank says the measures could affect economic activity equivalent to up to 2% of GDP under its worst-case scenario, while the World Bank has warned that a prolonged dispute could spill beyond trade and weigh on growth, inflation, and social conditions. The Russian import bans have hit every part of the supply chain, not just producers.
It's not only the industry which is hit, but also the whole ecosystem, the transport companies, the labor, the suppliers, so the whole supply chain is under distress.
Artyom Tadevosyan, founder of a leading dried fruit export company, has first-hand experience navigating the Russian import bans.
85% of our production goes to Russia. Another 10% stays in Armenia. 5% goes to the United States. And France and Germany get only negligible percentages. Right now, we have very serious problems because the dried fruit is completely under sanctions, and we're trying to figure out what to do.
The most difficult problem for Artyom to manage is uncertainty.
The most basic problem right now is that we already need to buy up fruit and vegetables and start producing, the dried fruit and so on. And we don't know what's going to happen a month from now, 2 months from now.
Konstantinos has been importing flowers with his family to Cyprus for 15 years. As an importer, he's flagged a standout barrier to sourcing from Armenia.
I would say there is this 20% import taxes. It's a 12% import tax, but you also have the custom procedures, that custom declaration, etc., that needs to be done. With all the expenses of custom clearance, you're coming up to like 28% of additional expenses to import from a third country, basically.
Additionally, there isn't the same product or brand recognition in new markets as exists in the Russian context.
The processed products for which demand had formed in the Russian market, our preserves, our cognac, and so on. In the European market, Europeans don't eat ajika, a spicy Caucasus-style relish. They have their own everyday foods, so that demand simply hasn't formed.
To bridge this gap in awareness, the government has organized showcases. Interest in these showcases has been inconsistent.
There were very little interest of fresh producers to participate in these type of exhibitions. And mainly during those years, only the processed product producers were expressed their interest to participate and get use of the benefits that the Ministry of Economy provides.
While showcases are useful for boosting awareness of national industry product categories, they might not yield much for individual producers. The missing component is deeper personal relationships.
But honestly, I'll tell you, the effectiveness of those exhibitions is close to zero, because you attend an exhibition more to raise your country's profile, to be represented alongside your country at those big events. But building real business connections takes different tools, different approaches entirely, which simply haven't been used, haven't been applied in our case.
The EU is implementing autonomous trade measures, ATMs, for duty-free third country access, but this has its limits.
I think this instrument was widely used vis-à-vis Moldova and Ukraine recently, and I'm not sure to what extent, but they would be giving this, or they have already granted the ATM to us. But though ATM is not panacea per se, because that mechanism would allow you to not to pay the tariffs and also to overcome the quotas. But it will not help you with the quality and the certification issues, in my opinion.
Some producers, having relied on the more relaxed requirement standards of the Russian import landscape, are finding themselves unequipped to meet new standards abroad, especially in Europe, a problem known to government.
We have also introduced a support program which compensates the cost for applying international standards and certification for the production processes. And so currently the government subsidizes 50% of the cost, which, for example, needed or required by different retailers when they are negotiating whether to buy the products or not to buy.
Diversifying exports also means upgrading production to meet stricter quality and certification standards in markets such as the European Union. Producers say those improvements require capital and time that are in short supply.
It's quite hard for them to readjust because improving in general the total quality management of the operations, it's a midterm strategy implying certain capital expenditures to invest into the certifications and conformity with global standards, and those of EU in particular, because as we know, EU has probably the one of the strictest certification or the quality, requirements for the things that go to the people, for the food, drugs, etc.
Artyom's sharpest critique is about timing.
For 7 or 8 years now, we've been saying again and again, dear government, we urgently need an export center. That's been said systematically for 7 or 8 years. We need a center where these issues get discussed in one place, where programs get developed, and where the export sector gets built together with business people. Now, finally, a decision has just been made. Why only now? I don't know. Honestly, it's a mystery to me. When are we going to learn to anticipate things a little, so these businesses stop getting caught in such terrible conditions?
The government is clear that it cannot absorb all the losses.
The producers should not expect that the government will fully compensate the losses, because they should feel that they are responsible for their production and commercial risks.
Artyom sees the dynamic differently.
They say, no, they say, bring us your proposals. We'll act on them. I've always said, and I'd like to repeat it today, that the first thing we need to do is bring European retail network buyers to Armenia and set up meetings between our professional producers and the heads of those networks' purchasing departments. That's the first priority. Everything else being done is secondary.
In a landscape of survival, personal relationships are the real lifeline.
So at the end of the day, doing business is about the trust and the relationship, right? And the fastest and most effective way is who knows someone. So you know people who know people. This is when you pick up the phone, you know that someone picks up from the other side, he can hear you, understand your problem, and give you a quick solution.
For Artyom, the direction was foreseeable. His strategy now is to rely on personal contacts and relationships to bridge new connections in new markets, but not without difficulty.
It was already clear to us about 3 years ago that this situation was coming. We're now actively trying to find new partners in every direction. The main obstacle, as I said, is connections, contacts. In the Russian market, we had a network and could develop quickly and move forward. But in Europe, America, the Arab countries, we have no network at all.
To take advantage of what the government has to offer, the most effective thing specific producers can do is reach out directly to the Ministry of Economy.
You can contact the Ministry of Economy and introduce yourself. If we don't know you as of now, so you can introduce yourself. So our team will take care of it. And then we are very in a intense cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our ambassadors all over the world. And they are also trying to find links and parties which are very much interested in acquiring products from Armenia. So sharing the contacts with the Armenian producers is the first step.
When asked how he was made aware of Armenian flour producers, Konstantinos passed credit to the World Trade Center network, emphasizing that brand recognition made him feel more secure in dealing with new importers abroad.
Getting these introductions through the WTC channels makes both parties basically, and the exporter and the importer, to feel safe that, these introductions came from a very well recognized company, which gives us it gives me the feeling that I have nothing to worry about, but to go forward, make my trial orders.
It's important to highlight that while new markets are being explored and new relationships are being forged, be it through government programs, private organizations, or personal networking, the overall situation is dire. Many producers and exporters are running out of time and capital, facing near imminent bankruptcy. Artyom had a final note.
To all our compatriots living outside Armenia, if you have connections, if you're interested in working with Armenia in any way, please be proactive, because in this situation we genuinely, badly need it. Especially anyone who works in the food industry, has connections, works with supermarket chains or distributors. We have a very real, very big need for our compatriots abroad, and honestly, right now is the moment when our compatriots need to try to support us. Because on our own, this is a genuinely enormous burden, and I think we're in for a very, very hard road. If our compatriots could really lend us a hand right now, with connections, not money. We don't need any money at all. We need connections. People who can put us in touch with major retail chains and so on, so we can finally start solving our problems that way. That's really it.
On July 2nd, 2026, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced a major EU support package for Armenia, including the implementation of the aforementioned autonomous trade measures, which will free nearly 80% of Armenian exports to the EU from tariffs, and an €18 million package to establish an export promotion agency. While these supports are undoubtedly critical, if the strategy and current priority for the Armenian market is diversification, less saturated markets such as the Middle East, China, India, and the Gulf countries may be where new opportunities lie. Institutions, private or government, can help facilitate relations with new markets, but specific trade deals will ultimately be signed the same way they have for millennia, through building trusting relationships with new people.